Along with the Futhark family and some other lesser known runes of Europe, along with the ones like I talked about in a prior video of the runes that more have a esoteric essence to them. I also talk about quite a few, I think about 23 different types of runes and mystical alphabets that were born, you could say, out of Iceland, and you really don't see them used outside of Iceland. And one of those types that is a favorite of mine that I've been working with for years and been trying to wrap my mind around for a long time are the Svartrúnar, or the black runes. Now, these types of runes are found in one of the most famous Icelandic manuscripts dating to 1860, known as the Huld. Its manuscript classification is IB 3834TO. I'm going to show you what it looks like here in a moment. So here you'll see the cover of it. This is on the handwrit.is. It's an Icelandic website that is basically a database of all the manuscripts from Iceland. It's a really great, I use this website all the time. I'm going to flip through the part where I want you to see this. So it is here on page 18V of the Huld. By the way, the Huld is an Icelandic grimoire that has, I can't even remember off the top of my head right now how many different types of runes and mystical alphabets, but it also has Galdrastaffers or staves. Now, there are different variants of the Svartrúnar on page 18V, but there's one specific type that I selected, which I'll show you here in a moment, that I chose to feature in my books. I wanted to look something up to make sure I gave you the proper information. So the Huld has approximately 300 runic and mystical alphabets in it. I feature quite like I said, a selection about 22, 23 that are mainly from there. Some have variants in the rune manuscript. And it has 30 Galdrastaffers or magical staves. There's a lot of interesting things about this. Now, I had told you 1860, but there is actually a number of other dates. There's also dates saying that it was written in 1847 by Geir Vigfússon. And then there's also segments to believe to be as old as 1810. I get the details about this in my books on the runes. But let's get back to the Svartrúnar. Now, this is the variant I chose. Just kind of swing here so you can see them carefully. I'm also going to show you a runic inscription towards the end of the video. This is one of the variants this is the main variant I chose. Now you'll notice that they have names. I'm not going to explain too much detail, but give me a moment. There's very little, next to nothing that's known about them. Now I've studied it for a long time, and I have incorporated into my own divination magic. So what I'm about to tell you is of my own work, my own creation, and nothing that can be found anywhere else. And I will explain more thoroughly in that volume in the Runabok, Journey Through the Runes, regarding them. I gave them each that name because in my own work over the years, I have incorporated them into making them a type of rune for divination, mainly associated with the Thursar or the Jotun, specifically kind of revolved around Gullveig and Angrboda and Heiðr, and Garmr and Helhast, and the kind of the more left-hand side of Odin and Logi and Nidheiger and Jord and things of that nature. Again, the details of that in the books. So that is something that is my own take on them. I just wanted to make that clear. They are not malevolent or evil. I don't believe in the whole good and evil when it comes to the Norse cosmology. There's, malevolent, malevolent. These are more of, you could say, much like I've described the Mirkrunar, these are kind of like the polar opposite of the Elder Futhark, but they're not negative. And I explain that in my books. Now let me show you it right here. This. If you want to see, because it is the complete alphabet, the complete Icelandic alphabet. I believe for the most part. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it is. And this is what it looks like. This is actually an Icelandic proverb that, if I remember right, I think I have it in my notes here, means, in English, a bad rower blames the oar. Of course, this is an Icelandic here, but that's what it looks like in a runic inscription. So that's the Svartrúnar in a very, very brief explanation. And there are, I believe, 22 other very unique Icelandic runic / kind of mystical alphabets I do cover in my books, Runabook, A Journey Through the Runes, where I give my own personal take on them, as based on my many years of studying them. So we got to do that one last thing. You know, the thing we do with these videos. 1 second. So, of course, as always, I got to do the plug from my book. So if you're interested in learning more about them, I believe those are in, they're in volume 2. But if you're really that curious, you can always just message me, leave a comment, and I can explain that further. But these are all the different volumes in my series, Runabook, A Journey Through the Runes, and the coffee table. Some are only digital, and then the other ones are in print. There's 2 different special editions. There is that rune set for rune deck, and this very special rune deck associated with the books. So that's it for that video. I might go ahead and just feature another one of the very lesser-known Icelandic rune / mystical alphabets for the next video. Maybe I'll just go down the line. But again, the books are in pre-order right now. The first pre-orders are going to be shipping out soon, from what I've been told. I can't give an exact date, but and also for people who are, if for some reason you're overseas and for whatever reason you can't afford to buy the books directly from the website, my books are available. The printed ones, not the digital ones. The digital ones are only on the website, but the printed ones are available on like pretty much every major and minor online bookstore worldwide. Okay, thanks. That's it.